$200 for a pair of flats? Are you kidding me? That was my response when I first saw the price of Tieks. Can a pair of shoes really be worth that much? It took me a good few years to finally take the plunge and buy a pair myself. Not sure if Tieks are worth the cost? By the end of this video, you'll have the full rundown of the pros and cons of Tieks, what I think of my Tieks after wearing them for about 3 years, and if they're really worth the investment. I mean, $200 is a pretty steep investment for a pair of flats. And real quick, before we get into the review, for more reviews of the best travel shoes and packs, as well as a good dose of California content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to be notified whenever I release a new video. Alright, so let's get into the good stuff. I got my Tieks back in 2017. I was full-time traveling. I was still living out of a backpack for the most part, living abroad on and off for about 5 years, and very much on a backpacker's budget. I had seen Tieks everywhere in the travel sphere. I mean, travel bloggers love to review these shoes. And it makes sense. They're very packable. You can fold them up and fit them into a suitcase or backpack or whatever you're traveling with. I had also heard that they were very comfortable walking shoes, which is important for me because I'm a very active traveler. I don't think I'd ever spent over $50 on a pair of shoes before I bought Tieks. I was definitely looking for something that was a good investment, good quality, and I was willing to spend a little extra if it meant that they were gonna last a lot longer. So that's kind of the preface of how I got introduced to Tieks and why I decided to buy them eventually after looking at them and stalking different posts, review posts on what they were like. All right, let's start with the pros first. One of my favorite things about Tieks is that they are very comfortable once they're broken in. And I'll get into that in the cons, but some people, when they first get their Tieks, they fit like a glove. They are magical. You don't have to go through that horrible phase of blisters and uncomfortable shoes for the first month of wearing them, and yeah, they just work. Other people, like myself, the fit isn't exactly right, and I think part of that is because I wear half sizes, and Tieks doesn't do half sizes, which is very unfortunate. So I wear a 9.5 usually. I have really big feet. So I got a 9 because they recommended to size down if you are half size. And I did find that although overall they fit well, especially the big toe area was really tight, and that took me a while to break in. Once I did break them in, they're super comfortable, and when I do have my big walkathons where I walk for hours in new cities, these are the shoes that I go for if I'm trying to still be relatively stylish and I don't just want to wear running shoes around a new city. Number 2, they're really good quality. I really like companies where you can clearly tell that the quality is very well done. And as you can see, even though cosmetically the Tieks have become a little bit more worn down as I've worn them for 3 years, functionally they still work amazing. There's been no issues. If you look at the back sides, there's no holes of any kinds. And even the inseams have held together really well, and that's also something that's people have issues with sometimes, is that coming undone. And I do have one loose string on this side, but I'll get into that. But yeah, they still hold up really well. Even though these have been my main pair of shoes for a while now, they still work amazingly. So I love the quality of Tieks. Number 3, they are versatile. When I was looking at getting a good quality pair of travel shoes, I was looking at the versatility factor because as a backpacker who likes to pack very minimally, I've been doing carry-on only for pretty much the last few years since I've had Tieks. These shoes make it a lot easier because there are plenty of trips, especially if it's just a weekend trip or a week away, where I only take my Tieks because they can be worn with so many different types of outfits. I've worn them for work attire, I've worn them at conferences, I've worn them just as like a casual with jeans when I'm walking around. I'll put up some images of me wearing my Tieks to show you the different types of outfits that I've worn with them before. But I got the Pacific green because I like the color pop aspect, but they're still subtle enough to really go with most colors, especially what I have in my wardrobe currently. Number 4, one that I really appreciate is Tieks. At least my Tieks, they don't get smelly. And I have definitely had sweaty feet in these before. When I was, most recently I was in the South during the summer in August. Why I booked a trip in August in Tennessee, I'm not sure. Regardless, I was very sweaty the whole trip. As you can see, the insides are a little bit stained, and I think those are from the sweatier days that I had. Somehow they still don't smell. Sorry if that was weird. Yeah, for some reason, my Tieks, they have never smelled bad. I've worn them in very humid and sweaty environments before. So that's one thing that I really appreciate, is my Tieks have never smelled bad before. All right, next up, they are very packable. This was a deciding factor, one of the deciding factors for why I ended up getting Tieks, is because I'm a regular traveler and they fold up like magic. Tieks come with a little bag where you can fold them up and they fit so nicely into your luggage. It is amazing, because normally, I mean, shoes are kind of my weakness, and so when I do bring multiple pairs of shoes, I usually have like a pair of Chelsea boots, or, you know, maybe hiking shoes that are definitely a lot bulkier. So it's nice to counterbalance that and have a pair of nicer shoes that fold up really nicely. But that is one thing that I really like about Tieks, is that they are very packable. You can fold them up and just stuff them into your bag and they're good to go. And the last pro is their customer service. This is something that goes such a long way for me with companies, especially when I'm investing in a pretty pricey product, is I want really good customer support. Yeah, Tieks goes over and beyond. I mean, from when you first get your Tieks in the mail and you get a little handwritten note, to just contacting their team on any given day. Anytime I've contacted anyone at customer service at Tieks, they have gotten back to me within a few days. So great customer service. Keep it up, Tieks. All right, let's get into the good stuff. So these are the cons of Tieks. I think the biggest con and the biggest hindrance for most people is the cost. Almost $200 for a pair of flats. It does sound a little ridiculous unless you're used to paying those high-end prices for designer clothes or flats or whatever it is. For the average person, $200 is a lot of money, which is why it took me so long to buy my first pair of Tieks. So it is hard to swallow that $175 plus price tag for Tieks, but you are investing in a really good pair of shoes that will last you for years to come. So how I usually break down costs is I think about how long something is going to last, how often I'm going to wear it, and kind of do a little formula to figure out what the, you know, price per wear would be. And, you know, I've worn these Tieks, I would say at least 300 days of the year. I mean, I live in California, so we don't have to wear winter boots or anything like that. So yeah, I've worn these Tieks about 900 days plus probably, and you know, for $175, that's actually not that bad for 900 days. And I plan to keep wearing these for years to come. I think it's all about how you think about the cost and whether that's worth it for you, whether that investment is worth it for you, how often you plan to wear these shoes, and how long you're expecting them to last. That's kind of how I justified the cost for myself. But yeah, there's no way around it. $175 is a lot for a pair of flats. All right, so the big one for me that I was pretty surprised about with my pair of Tieks was how long they took to break in. And I've read so many other reviews where people made it seem like it was immediately this magical shoe that, you know, made your foot feel amazing and was super comfortable. And that was not the case for me. This was actually my bad, because I made the mistake. I was really excited when I got my pair of Tieks, and I wore them out of the house like within the first week, and I slowly started to notice that my feet did not like them back. That it was a pretty steep breaking in period where it was really hard to wear my Tieks more than a couple hours because it was just so tight on my big toe, right where the curve is. And the reason why they usually say to size down if you're a half size is because it's leather, so it will stretch out over time. With that said, if I could go back, or if I had been a little, you know, a little bit more patient with wanting to wear my Tieks outside, I definitely would have sent these back and tried a 10, because you can do free returns if you haven't worn them outside. I think getting a size up for myself at least would have been a lot better. There are different techniques and different things you can do to stretch your Tieks a little faster, which I wrote a whole review blog post about Tieks, and I have some tips on how to stretch them out and make them fit to your foot perfectly, because I tried a lot of things. This one is probably pretty obvious, but they're not great for rainy weather, which is the one downside for a good travel shoe. Is it would be nice to have a good waterproof travel shoe as well. And I do have plenty of those as well, so I'm not that concerned about it, but it is a downside, and part of why my Tieks look so worn is because I don't always heed that leather doesn't do well in water. And so, you know, like I wore these in Mexico during the rainy season. Probably not a great idea. They survived though. They just cosmetically don't, you know, they look a little bit more worn out. So that is something to keep in mind, is if you do want to keep the look of the Tieks and just have them last a little longer, you probably want to avoid wearing them when it's rainy out or wet out, because they don't do well in rainy weather. Alright, next up, they scuff really easily, and this is a pretty big concern for a lot of people, is the shoes, and I'm sure you can see pretty well how much these are scuffed. It's mostly always on the foot area, as opposed to like around any other part of the shoe, a little bit on the back side as well. There's no way around it. These scuff really easily. I think it also depends on the material of Tieks that you order, but at least for these, I guess these are like the wash leather look, they have scuffed really easily. So what you can do if you want to remedy the scuffing is there's actually a cream that a lot of like Tieks enthusiasts use, including my cousin actually. She's the one who recommended this to me. So it's called Terrago cream, I think. I'll link it down below. But they have every color Tieks imaginable, and they have a cream that you can use to kind of cover the scuffs and make them look pretty much brand new. So if you are worried about the scuffing, it is an unfortunate part of owning Tieks. I would say the cream is the best way to go, and it's pretty inexpensive. I think it's like a few dollars for one cream. Alright, and lastly, my last con for Tieks is insole peeling. That includes the thread that comes loose, like this one right here. So I've actually been pretty lucky because I've seen some people's pairs of Tieks where the insole is peeling pretty badly. For me, I just have pretty bad stains on the insides, which I think is from when I wore them in like really hot weather. I haven't actually had any insole peeling at all after wearing them for quite a bit. The only thing is the string started coming loose about a few months ago, so they went probably a good, you know, over 2 years without having really any issues with the insides except for the staining. The one thing I'll say about the string that comes loose is that this is actually cosmetic, so it doesn't have any bearings on the structure of the shoe. So it's not gonna, you know, the insole's not gonna come up or anything. It's actually just a cosmetic thing, so it is annoying for sure, but it's not gonna, you know, affect the practical wear of the shoe. So those were my pros and cons of Tieks. I hope that gave you a little bit of a better picture of what to expect with a pair of Tieks. The biggest question for a lot of people are, why are Tieks so expensive, and are they actually worth the price? From my personal experience, I definitely think they are worth the price, just because I've gotten so much use out of them. They have traveled around the world with me, and they have become kind of my stylish walking shoe. So if I'm exploring a new city, it's nice to have a versatile pair of shoes that is comfortable, but you can also wear to a bar later. So real quick, based off these pros and cons, would you ever purchase a pair of Tieks? Put yes or no in the comments and let me know. And also let me know what you look for in a pair of shoes, and what are your deal breakers when you're looking to invest in a new pair. Is it comfort? Is it style? Is it waterproofness? Is it price? There's so many different factors that go into it, and as a shoe enthusiast myself, I'm always curious to hear what other people have to say. So there you have it. That's what I think of Tieks. Those are the main pros and cons that I've seen of the shoes, and my experience with wearing them for a few years. If you're interested in learning more about Tieks, I'll leave their website link below. I also wrote a really detailed blog post on my blog, The Atlas Heart, about Tieks and my experience with them, and also all the fun tips about how to break them in properly, and also what I would recommend in terms of how to pick a style and color of Tieks. So if you want even more Tieks goodness, definitely check that out. I'll leave the link below. And as always, if you enjoyed this review video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and even share the link with a friend if you found it really helpful. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you next time.